Hello there. Hey there, hi there, ho there. It's September, also known as 9 of 12. Here to show you how to cook, encourage you to cook if you haven't, help you not give up if you want to try again if you screwed up. I don't know. um, any number of things. My stream manager is not acting like I'm live. There we are. Hi, folks. Okay. So I'm just getting started a little later than I was going to, but no, not bad. It's almost 5:30. I'm turning my hot sauce back up. We started that earlier today. You can see it's beautiful. Um, I want it a little thicker, so I'm gonna throw dinner together for me and Victor, my middle son. While now I've got some tomato chunks in here, right? Um, If I'd have chopped them up better or they had been not starting frozen, that would have busted up better. Thickening comes from the sugar. You can see how much it's reduced. Can you see the line in the pan here? But the pectin, the natural pectin from tomatoes and sugar, and it's thickened up nicely. You can jar it like this if you want. Can you see? Move the camera a little this way. How thick it is. Plop, plop, plop. But I'm going to let it boil down a little more while I make dinner. Make spaghetti and meatballs. First, though, I am going to, this is not a necessary step. I wouldn't have those chunks in there, like I said, if it didn't start frozen or if I just chopped them up more. And I'm going to put my immersion blender and get rid of tomato chunks that are left in there. And I mean, they're fine. There's nothing wrong with them. But just for a little smoother consistency, so when I'm jarring, it doesn't go splorp and splash hot, sugary stuff on me and burn me. Let's not do that. So let's make some meatballs. I wanted Vic to put some hot water on for the pasta, but he hasn't. So it's starting to move a little. It is simmering real low. At this stage, when it's thick, is when you do have to watch it a little more carefully for scorching on the bottom. So we're doing like a cheater dinner. I'm going to use a jar sauce. Pardon my leaving the room, but Savoy did help me. He brought in groceries and put stuff away, and got my jars into the dishwasher, like I talked about earlier. We are going to be jarring this up and relying on the heat to self-seal and the pH that it has been tested for in the past to have it safe for that. If any don't seal, I will go ahead and probably tomorrow run them through a water bath canning for about 10 minutes. So right now I'm going to put my pasta pot on. And so I'm over in my kitchen. Hopefully he didn't run this through a whole long cycle. Yeah, he ran it through a heavy cycle. It does not need to. Oh, well, that's okay. They'll be hot and wet, which is what I'm looking for. That's what she said. If you think I'm being inappropriate now, you should come to the Monday night game nights on Cyrenex's stream. Okay. And also, I remembered Bad Pour was in here earlier, and I appreciate that. And, we did talk about that you work. Hey, Chaos Shards. It is a solid reduction. It's been reducing for maybe 4 hours. I don't know if you saw it this morning, but it's 20 tomatoes, about 6 medium onions, hot peppers, 4 cups of vinegar, 4 cups of sugar, and my papa's hot sauce. Oh, my house smells so good. So while I start throwing stuff in here in this bin for meatballs, and take a sip of my beverage. This is a lime margarita mocktail from Aldi. They were really yummy. In a Fourth Creek Brewing class. My friend Jonathan, who used to own Fourth Creek Brewing, was kind enough to bring me back one of my pie plates from a pie I made him. Like yesterday. My husband comes walking in like, hey, Jonathan just dropped this off. I'm like, cool. I like my pie plates getting returned. So I put my name on, etched my name on some of it. So my adventure. Should I take this off first? I should probably take this off first. It's been time. I went to get blood. Oh. I failed at that. That's a first. It's a new one for me. I'll wash my hands too, because I guess that's kind of gross for me to do this and then cook, right? My veins are not great all the time. I don't like to always behave. Ouch. This actually hurts, which is new. Or mostly new. They had trouble getting the vein, and then they had trouble getting the vein to let blood out. It was caught in a valve. They were little like back valves, backstop things in your veins. And they had to move my arm, nip my arm, and squeeze, and it was a very long, arduous process. I did not enjoy. Well, I mean, it was fine. At least it didn't hurt. But yeah, it was 2 people and a whole lot of time. And just with all the difficulty, it took so long that my blood started eventually clotting and blocked up the needle. And they were going to stop it as soon as they could anyway, because they were having so much trouble. But like 100 milliliters shy of a full donation, it just couldn't. They couldn't get any more blood out of me. And I didn't cry. I almost cried. Giving blood is very important to me. I try to do it whenever I can. My daughter-in-law's life was saved a couple years ago when she lost a grandchild we were expecting very late term by many, many units of blood products. My friend Rez went through a lot of cancer treatments. It gave him some more time to live his life and get married and have more time with his children. And the blood products used at Roswell, I believe, is where he had his treatment. I know it's where he had his treatment. Served with that. It's important to me. It's been important to my friends. I know other people undergoing cancer treatment stuff. That's oregano from my garden. Garlic. Like I said, cheater dinner. All the cheats today. Pepper. Onion. And you know what I'm going to do? Check this out. I usually put a pinch of cayenne. I'm going to skip it. And maybe a squirt of ketchup or mustard. I'm going to put a blurb of that in there. Because it can't hurt. And let's get some gloves. So I didn't cry. I almost cried. I was having failed at it and like wasted the Red Cross's materials. Like I tried to do a good thing and it was the opposite. And last year I had a false positive blood, like hepatitis test or something. I don't know, when I gave blood. And it was false positive. I hadn't been exposed. I wasn't sick. But it involved like 6 months, I think it was, of not being allowed to donate. And then I had to go in. Like last month I went in and they tested my blood and I had to wait for the results. And I finally got on the list again. And then my veins had a bad day. So I'm sad about it. Yeah, that's looking good. So let's mix this all together to make meatballs. Um, So yeah, that was frustrating, and part of what took me so long because then I still had to go to the store, and I got a text while I was streaming earlier from my friends that my friend Marianne had a stroke last year, and her family has been ruined by it because the United States healthcare system is terrible, and they're living in a hotel. I put no salt in this. I mean, that's a necessary thing. It's okay. I'll just use a shaker instead of my cellar. I don't want to put my meat hands in the cellar, but the shaker's easy to wipe off. And their daughter needed some of her scrubs cleaned because work was being an asshole and saying, your blue top and black pants don't match. Who the fuck cares? So maybe I just needed that blood today so that I still had the energy to make hot sauce and do laundry for my friends, right? Okay. Yeah, lots of people don't ever donate, and they really should. Guys, it's not hard unless, you're me. I was told that with my blood type, I should consider hydrating 3 days ahead of time. I don't know what it is about type A blood, apparently. But I don't know. It could be the steroids I'm on have me dehydrated despite my endeavors to hydrate before I give blood, because I do know better than to not. Okay, so let's see. I'm just going to throw these in the oven to brown up and then add the sauce, the jar of sauce, to finish cooking them through, and throw it on some pasta, just spaghetti later when everything's ready. But I want to get these in the oven, and then we'll get this hot sauce into jars. Everything's frustrating. Failing at giving blood is like, it's just a weird, sad little thing. Like, just take it. I'm trying. She's like, you don't want to bleed today. I'm like, I do. I promise I do. And they have. I was encouraged though. I have never seen that many people at once when I've gone to donate in the church where they do it down the street. It's the closest place to me. That was encouraging. I maybe it's because of life experience. I'm 57, by the way. And maybe I just, it only became really a priority to me to do a couple years back. I think as you start to have more life experiences where you realize the importance of it. Because a lot of people, it was my age and older pretty much. That and having the time in the middle of the day to do it. You're not, working for the man or whatever. This isn't a meatball stream. Maybe I'll do one another time and be better about it. But I just got meat in my drink. Great. Gonna drink it anyway. You want to roll them so they don't just fall apart when they're browning, but you don't want to spend too much time messing around working the meat and ending up with tough meatballs. Tough balls, man. That's good. Still not sticking to the bottom. It could scorch if I don't move it around at this stage. I did turn it up a little because I do want it reducing in time for us to jar it. Brother once failed 4 attempts to draw blood and failed so bad they had to swap arms. Oh yeah, that is a regular thing for me. My veins, they call it rolling. They tend to roll, and I do warn them about that. I have had phlebotomists tell me they do appreciate a warning. I did have shitty phlebotomists say, yeah, sure they do, and then fail. I've gone to get draws, and they have rules at the local healthcare place where a person can only do 3 attempts, and then they have to get another person to try. And I've run into that, but they kind of know me when I get blood draws, because with my illnesses, I get about every 6 months I get a draw, and they just get out the little butterfly and usually get it first time now. Man, that guy, that first time that failed and had to have someone take over, I thought he was going to cry. He was very sad. He felt terrible. I mean, it doesn't hurt, right? People are so afraid of needles, and I used to be when I was younger, but like, it's a tiny pinch when it goes through the skin, but once it's in there and they're moving around and stuff, that doesn't really hurt. Like, there's a little pressurey thing when they actually get the vein, which you wouldn't notice the difference because it's usually all at once, unless you're me. My middle son definitely inherited my vein bullshit, which actually, from family lore, my papa, whose hot sauce recipe this is, had the same thing. He died of colon cancer. He was in hospice and home for a while back in the 70s. And I remember talk of, you got Papa's veins, you got Papa's veins. Victor went in for a procedure, and they were trying to put an IV in, and they were sticking him and sticking him and sticking him. They got to like 7 times, I think, and then they gave him nitrous to dope him up, and they ended up putting the IV in his foot. Finally, they got one in for him to have that procedure. I want it thicker. That's what we're doing. It's gonna have to wait. I used panko breadcrumbs for this. It's just because of what I have in the house. The Italian seasoned breadcrumbs are actually great for this kind of thing, to make your meatballs even quicker. Fresh breadcrumbs work great. I do put an egg in my meatballs to help it hold together. But this isn't a meatball stream. I'm gonna fill my pepper, my goju pepper. I buy big pepper, and I have the small pepper that goes in the spice rack. And it's almost empty. You have a problem when you have to have a bunch of different containers for all your uses. Not a bad problem to have. I'm not as big a snob on pepper as I could be. I do buy peppercorns to keep in my grinder, but I mean, that's for finishing, just like a finishing salt, right? That's for me, like to put on a salad, like a Caesar, or to add pepper at the end of something. And I use peppercorns because I put together my own pickling spice sometimes, not all the time. It's in the 80s here, and I've been running around, so still a little sweaty, but I wanted to get this, come back to you guys. Is it really a problem, though? It's not a problem. I guess problem's the wrong word. It's if you saw the outrageous amount of spices I have, I think I have posted in my Discord some of it. Like this, I've got a rack that my husband built that's like 3 tiers high on a kitchen wall and about probably 3 feet long. It's really cool. We stained it with, well, he wood burned herbs on the side, and then I wood burned. He who controls the spice controls the world, from Dune on it, and we stained it brown in some places, and then green, and then blue for, spice, for the whole Dune nerdity. And then this cupboard back here has, well, I can show you if you haven't seen it, a few spices and herbs and things. Ugh, in it. Yeah. Smells good. That's a fantastic line, Cass, in the chat. It's a solution to the question they're waiting to be asked. That could be the answer to all the clutter in my house. I love when people ask me, do you have something? Could you do this for me? And I've got exactly what I need. Kind of love it. Kind of like the whole Nurtacular lip balm thing. Like, I'd never made lip balm. I thought, let's make perfume. Let's make something cute to give away to people. And then people were in the chat talking about, don't forget to stay hydrated, and don't forget, and it's so hot, and you're not used to the dry weather, all these people traveling. And I was like, shit, I think it's all the same ingredients for lip balm. And it was. The only thing I ordered were like the little tubes and the thing to load them up, and some food safe flavors. And then I made 100 lip balms and gave them away to people. And I have been still receiving thanks for saving people's lips, including my own. I made all those. Hi, Twinderella. I made all those, gave away 99, kept one. And I was forgetting to put mine on like a genius. So on like the Sunday, I stayed through Monday out in Utah. I woke up and I had like a little cracking going on. I had a chapped lip. So I put it on like a bunch of times on Sunday. Man, it was gone Monday. It healed it. So proof it worked. It works great. Ooh, making a mess here. I'm gonna grab a couple things because I'm ready to start jarring this up. I'm not gonna have it hanging around a super long time to do this, but I do want to get a few jarred up, and hopefully one, at least one seal will pop, or seal, so that you have instructions on how this works. So, get my lids. Did not run the lids through the dishwasher, but you do want to heat these a little, this rubber, to give it a head start on being soft and creating a seal on your hot jars, whether you're boiling it in a canner, processing it in a canner after, or doing this, which, like I said, I'm not officially recommending this method, but I know the pH has been tested in this recipe, so it is safe to let it seal as long as it seals, and not necessary to have further processing. So I'm going to heat up some water to not quite boiling. If I were canning, what I do is I get my jars ready to go. Sorry, my spaghetti wants to go in. And then I I'll use tongs and like dip the lids, those lids in, the internal lid things. Dip them, put them on my jars. Okay, so I'm just going to get some hot water going in a thing. Get my jars out of the dishwasher. Nice and clean and hot. You want a clean, damp rag to wipe around the top of the jar. These feel, they're squeaking. I feel like my dishwasher smells like soap and I don't want. Tell me he didn't put soap in. He knows I was just rinsing these, right? No soapy hot sauce, please. But I'll dampen this dish towel, plain dish towel, because if you drip any up on the edge, it's not going to seal for you. So you want to be able to quickly get that off before you place your rubbered lid on. And then tighten this over it, one of these rings over it, but not too tight. Air needs to escape. Same as if you're actually doing the process of canning it. You want to make some hot sauce? Your kitchen's tiny. You know, and I missed what the why not is there. Chaos shard. So this is, you know, doesn't take a lot of space. I'm doing this not even in my kitchen. My kitchen is also tiny, which is why I'm streaming by using a hot plate and shit. I'm going to get out tongs that have a rubber gripper. Silicone to dip these. I'm going to use some ancient canning tools that I got from my dad right before he passed. So I think I'm just going to do like 2 of these. No, I like odd numbers. Maybe 3, and then reduce it further. I like it even thicker than this. So let's get dangerous. Not dangerous, but it's playing with Darkwing Duck. Okay. Want this about a 1/4 inch from the top. You can look that up. You can do it by the lines on the, and I did get some up on the edge. Want to wipe it off. Don't want to contaminate it with your hands. Dip a lid. Hot water. I feel like that's a little shy of, or it might be. And lightly put that on. Let that sit a minute. Let's move it. Let's do another. Yeah, that's a better amount of room. I don't know how much you can tell, but again, get yourself a ball canning book. It'll clue you into all these little small finer points. It's not the end of the world. So when the jar turns, when you do it, that's tight enough. Don't tighten it any more than that. You need that air to be able to escape to seal the jar. and you want all the air pushed out. It's what's preserving your product. Oh my gosh, my house smells so good. Whoops. Okay, so what is just about a full scoop, and I got a little on the edge, fills that perfectly where I want it. So yeah, I'm gonna stop at 3. Just give that a minute. Soften it up. And turn this down a little, but continue to reduce it. Give the jar a spin. Clean up my counter later. I am making a mess. I love these, right? Like just good old-fashioned tools like this. I've got another canning funnel that came from my dad's house. My dad died last year, and I went and got, okay, they gave me, my stepmother gave me all kinds of jars and his old canning stuff, so it's nice to have. And this one funnel they gave me, it's like different sizes. It like expands out. It was up, so smaller jars and wide mouth jars you can use it. But that's in another cupboard right now. They don't make tools like they used to, but you know what? They make a lot of tools that are better. I recently was looking at canning supplies, and that one's not sealed. This one's sealed. It's not making this noise. Oh, I'm going to give that a minute. Oh, when you tap it and it's dull, it's not going clunk clunk. It's sealed. The heat in this hot sauce already dealt with that. Eventually, I'll get that fermentation, that hot sauce book, and experiment with more of those kind of hot sauces too. But this is my keep it in my house at all times priority. I gotta go stir the pasta and check my meatballs. So anyway, I was looking, sorry, distracted, at canning supplies, and an annoyance I find, because I do a lot of canning in these half pints jars, and how do the meatballs look? They're browning okay. I'm gonna turn them up to 400 and shake the pan around. The rack that comes with, you see how pretty those are. Your big canning pot, right, to lift your jars in and out. The wire rack isn't, the design is terrible. They fall through. Like you can't actually lift it up and down with half pints. But you can't just put the jars on the bottom of the pot. You need to have something protecting it, between the bottom of the pot. Have water go all the way around the jar so that it processes evenly. So I saw this cool thing that I got to pick up. It's like rubber and it looks like a web, kind of. And it folds down real small, but then you just span it in your pot and you just put all your jars on there. And if you got, and I will call that necessary. I did it without it for years using tongs to pull my jars in and out of a canner. The grippy, scissory canning jar lifter type thing are magic. And as long as I have that, if I put this web thing on the bottom and it's silicone or whatever, everything's going to process evenly, and they're not going to tip over, and I'm not trying to lift out this rack and having things fall through and all that trash. So I definitely want one of those little silicone gadgets, which is a modern thing that will make this process better for me. Okay. Cool. How do we feel, guys? But yeah, there's a lot of things they don't make like they're used to. Canning jars are something they don't make like they used to, and I'm glad. I've been collecting some cool ones. My pasta just went off. Or, no, it's about to. That was oven coming to temp. So jars, mason jars had these wire lids. Seems like a good idea, and I did want to try to use them, but after research, I'm not. You get you can get rubber things that you seal, and you process can in jars like this. I'm not the expert. Follow Canara for that, but there are a lot of reasons to not use that kind of jar anymore. These rubber lids like we're using today, the modern ones, are much safer, much better. I mean, you have to, you can't reuse them as many times as like the rubber thing, but there's reasons you might not want to do that. That's like another source of contamination. It's potential. So thanks science for that, but I still I have a bunch of these now. Again, it came from my dad's stash, and they're cool. And I've got the one that's slightly blue from Lockport Glass Company. It was manufactured in an old glass factory in my hometown many years ago. And I just keep lavender in it. And that just has a screw-on metal, like tin aluminum lid. I don't know. That I don't know how you would have actually food saved anything in it. Guys, it's gorgeous and it smells wonderful. Oh, I should take a picture. For this thumbnail. Thank you to whoever it was in the stream last time I streamed, last week or whatever, that helped me out because I could not think of the word thumbnail to save my life. So here we go. Oh, nope, that's just my finger. They're sealed up. I'll date these. Oh no, my Sharpie fell out of my apron. I'll probably just write on here. I only use labels, if I'm selling them or making gifts, so I can customize. All sealed. But I can take off the rings. I'm going to wait until they're cooled down. When they're fully cooled down, I'll take the rings off and make sure they're clean and dry, because you can reuse those, but not if they're rusty. And they rust really easily. Do not wash them and leave them out. But I'll be able to reuse rings next time I can something. And I buy these lids on the regular. There's reusable plastic leak-proof lids. They're awesome. I got other ones that kind of seal stuff in, and they have a wooden top for dried herbs and things to have in the cupboard. But when I open something that's canned like this, pickles, hot sauce, jam, whatever, I have these lids on hand, and they have off-brands and stuff, and they're fine. And then just to open jar, use this as long as you have it in the fridge until it's gone, rather than reusing this over and over on the jar, because it hanging out in the fridge, again, it's going to get rusty. It's a waste of resources, and you don't want rust in your food, right? Ew. I'm sweaty. It is 41 minutes in stream. Okay. I'm going to move some stuff. Try not to touch any edges. You know what? I made jam for the first time last year, and it was really cool. I'm going to grab the meatballs just to show you what we got going here. Actually, I can continue this out here, because the hot sauce can be moved aside because I'm just reducing it further. And I'll finish dinner over here. I'm just gonna pour this jar of sauce in here, and it's gonna pick up flavor from the meatballs. And whoa, not sure why that exploded. Cook the meatballs the rest of the way through. Oh, cats. You know, I have a small concern. It doesn't. Okay, it doesn't taste bad. It smells slightly alcoholic, like it started to ferment. This jar isn't very old. Yeah, it tastes fine. I couldn't compete with, didn't want to. Not that it's competition with Kim Johnson did a bolognese recently. My eldest son loves meatballs. That's his birthday request for dinner usually, and his birthday's coming up, but it's not yet. But I just been kind of craving it, and it's an easy cheater dinner to use a jarred sauce. Did you know that using a cast iron pan for something like this with a tomato-based product, as long as it's well seasoned so you don't fuck up your pan, actually adds iron to your food? Fun facts. Okay. So I'm gonna just lid that and let it simmer for a bit, and then we'll be ready to throw it on some pasta and eat it as soon as the meatballs are cooked through. How am I gonna know? Well, I could use the thermometer. It's not gonna happen though. I've had enough bullshit today without farting around with more stuff. That's too big. Look at me. I don't even know what lid I'm using here. I'll put it. I'm trying to grab a clear one so you can see. That one's too small. Well, I want to cover it so it doesn't splatter, so you have to deal with the one that I know fits. But, I mean, it's not going to take more than, hey, genius, you had that pan in the oven. Pro tip I didn't use. You take a pan out of the oven, leave a damn pot holder on it so you remember not to touch it. There. And this is already up to a simmer again. I'm scraping the sides because that will also help with the thickening. Because tomatoes have pectin. Okay. Sorry for the flitting all over the place. Jam. I made jam for the first time last year, and I was really nervous about it. I had never used pectin. Like, I'd make pickles, and I'd pickle peppers and pickled cucumbers and pickled carrots and make this hot sauce, making sausage and all that stuff I do. And I was like, oh no. I was just nervous about it. So I got a really good harvest of rhubarb. My sister had a giant rhubarb plant, and I was visiting because somebody died. And she let me take a shit ton of it. It's hard to grow. It's harder. She's in a cold climate. Rhubarb struggles in the heat. So I'm lucky if I get a couple stalks off mine, unfortunately. And I love rhubarb. I make rhubarb pie, strawberry rhubarb pie, and I decided to make strawberry rhubarb jam. Looked up some recipes. How hard can it be? And I got this liquid fruit pectin. which made me less nervous, right? Like, because like if I don't dissolve a powder and measuring and blah blah blah, but recipes in the ball book, or they have a handy little 1 quart fruit to buy, 1 pouch of Certo, 4 cups of sugar, and you get 1 cup containers of jam. Um, that's for their quick and easy jam, and so you can use whatever fruit you want. And I made strawberry rhubarb jam. It's delicious. I'm on my last jar of that too, so I might be making it again soon. But it went amazingly well. I was intimidated for all the wrong reasons. People sell these jams and they put those wax tops on it, which I understand now is also not the greatest food safe thing and seemed like a giant pain in the ass of a process. But like it's a short, I mean, you look at your recipe and the acidity, you add some lemon juice or something to make sure it's safe. Process it for 10 minutes or 20 minutes, like whatever. Use your ball book, use the internet, trusted sources though. Don't just take shit from TikTok. These are sealed. I'm so happy. Well, we're about done. I think I need a taste test because for the rest of the jars, I'm going to see if I want to add a little more heat. What will I test with? Where did the boy? I could just use a spoon. I think I'll just use a spoon. I got some pita crackers for some spinach artichoke dip, but okay. Saltines is what I got when I was selling it. So see if you can see the thickness. I'm going to reduce a little more so it doesn't quite immediately separate that watery part out. When it sits, it will thicken up just a little more when it cools down. Mmm. Mmm. Good batch, y'all. Mmm. Nope, I'm leaving it. It's the right amount of heat. It's real sweet at the front. The heat creeps in. I'm glad I put the jalapenos for a little more depth of flavor. And cooking it is gonna, I want that sugar cooked just a little more. It's a little brighter than it is after it's fully done. But the heat balance is right where I want it. It's something that I really like to give people. Have them try when they're over, or give them a little bit if they're having barbecue, if they're having a cookout, take a jar with you. And people who are afraid of hot things, I don't like it to be super hot for them. Like I'll make a hot batch for people who like the hot. I'm never taking all the heat out because it's just not the same thing. It's just sweet then. It might get a little darker brown. I think that the brightness going on right now and the reduction will fix it, is doing that immersion blend I did because some of my tomatoes didn't break up. Those tomatoes need to cook a little more. So I definitely am going to cook this down more before I jar up the rest of it. Ooh. I tell you, I don't like about the hot plate is you can see exactly where the heat is. Only in the center of the damn pan. It's fine. Okay. I'm confident these are cooked through from their texture. If you're not confident, go ahead and use a thermometer. Just cut one open and look. And it's beef. It doesn't have to be super duper cooked. But you don't want to cook them until all the fat's gone. It's a pretty lean meat I used to begin with. But I just want the sauce to get a little bit thicker so it sits nicely on our spaghetti. Cool. Silicone. Not worried about burning it. Heat is flavor, hot is just pain. I agree wholeheartedly. If there's enough heat in something I can't taste anything, I'm not interested in that. Turn that down a little and this up a little. And that's it, guys. That's the stream. Um, Normally, like the good form is to hang around and taste, right? But I mean, I guess I could do a meatball, but that's not what the stream was. And I already tasted the hot sauce. That counts. Um, and you've seen it, and it's all its glory. Look there. Thanks, Papa. His name was Victor, which is who my middle son is named after. Victor Hugel, Hugel. It's German / French, like Alsace-Lorraine heritage. I don't know where the hot sauce came from or was developed. I just know my pop used to make it, and we always had it in the fridge. And I put that shit on a lot of stuff. Not everything, but it's a ketchup replacement for me. I don't really need ketchup, except for other people need ketchup. I'm curious. I bet it's going to be good. Oh, I threw some of the meatballs instead of adding a little ketchup or mustard or anything. Didn't I? I'll let you know. Come to the Discord, folks. Come to the Discord. Participate in our conversation. I spend so much time in like other Discords. I'm in the Food and Drink Club. I'm in the Moderator Club as well. I'm mod for a lot of channels now. And Frog Pants is a very lively food channel. But I mean, I've got my own food stream, so I should spend more time on my own food channel and remembering to start discussions there. And I'd love if you all come and participate and share what you're doing and what you'd like to do. Maybe we can help you find solutions, even with your tiny counter space. Kanara was fantastic at brainstorming with me about how in the heck I could do this. And I was able to start with the help of a dear friend from many, many years ago who sent me a laptop that I needed, with Kanara suggesting the hot plate, and we talked about different kinds. I just, I'm so excited that I finally started to be able to do this. And then my wonderful husband being supportive of my streaming, and for Mother's Day, we spent the money to get me these workbenches, which is like, has been a game changer for making this even easier to do in my house, even if it's not in my kitchen. And I appreciate all your patience. I'm glad I got a decent lav mic so I can go run to the sink. It's just a necessary thing. I don't have a sink in here. Our house is paid off in like a month and a half. So I think I have to give up on my dream of having a big kitchen and a bigger house, because we don't want to start all over again with debt. But um, I figured out how to do it. And maybe I'll be able to expand it when the food pantry has asked me if I'd be willing to do like canning classes or cooking classes or something if they get funding to do it. And then I could work like in a bigger kitchen to play around with that. I hope I get to do it. I hope I get to keep expanding my cooking dreams. But in the meantime, you're always free to message me or open discussions to figure out what you want to do and how you can do it, even if it's not streaming. If you just, how do I make this in my tiny kitchen? Because I've been dealing, this house was built in, they think 1950. They can't even find a record of that exactly. Like one of those just like galley kitchens, there's so little counter space, and somebody built the shelves, and I, I I'm happy, and I have managed to feed my family and do everything in my kitchen I can for all these years. And it was just streaming that was out of my reach until I made it happen. So, um, and before I had a house, I had apartments and apartment style, like, even I've worked with even less space, even raising kids, and apartment size stoves and apartment size fridge. Yeah, those are a thing. I don't miss from back home in Buffalo. I've had not working stoves and had to just use an electric frying pan for some years, and it was great. You figure stuff out, which is what I'm here to do. That's my mission, guys. That's my mission. You can cook. I'm watching my friends who have to live in a hotel right now explore. They have a hot plate. They've got a crock pot, and talking to them about what they can manage to do so they don't have to eat all the time. They obviously don't have the extra money to be doing all that crap either right now. And yeah, I just want to help everybody out. That's how you do. This needs to be turned up. You boil a little quicker now that I'm home and not just leaving. It would have been thicker, but when I went to try and give blood and pick up laundry and everything and go get to the store, I had to have Rob stirring it for me, and he was working, and Victor, who's really bad at answering his texts. So that's that. 3 successful seals out of 3. Awesome. And I look forward to cooking with you soon.